podcast. That's amazing.
Welcome to the Crazy Dre podcast show, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is your main man, Crazy Crockett. Welcome to the Crazy Dre podcast show. Folks, we got some sad news in the music industry. Ozzy Osbourne has passed away. The icon from Black Sabbath, his own solo career. He just did a show two weeks ago, back to the beginning, with his bandmates from Black Sabbath, and other bands were there to celebrate his end of his music career. And then 2 weeks later, he's gone. He's gone from this earth. One of my favorite songs from Ozzy is Dreamer, and it was a great song about hope and faith, and about hoping the earth will survive of mankind's destruction, and kind of like the War of Pigs from the Black Sabbath era of Ozzy. He was just a very unique person. He just was a very different. He had a learning disability. He kept trying. He just had a lot of problems with a drug addiction. But I think we got take away from one thing about Ozzy is that he never gave up, and he was never going to be the guy who's just going to go away. And thank God for Sharon, his wife, who basically picked him up when he was kicked out of Black Sabbath, and he stuck himself in the hotel for 6 months. So she figured him out, and maybe having a wife or a good woman around you really pays off. But Ozzy is just that guy that had his own unique voice, a lot like Frank Sinatra or Elvis Presley or James Brown. You just knew who you were listening to. And Ozzy had that. From the time when I listened to No More Tears album, when I was like maybe 14 years old, he was the guy that introduced me to heavy metal and hard rock and all that stuff. I was never into Metallica. I was never into Black Sabbath or other bands like that, or even maybe a little bit of Led Zeppelin. But his voice was so different, and the whole persona about him being a Prince of Darkness was just a gimmick that it was created by the fans and by him. I mean, you got a man who's in his mid 30s and 40s in the 1980s and the early 90s running around and getting the crowd hyped up. You just don't see that in the music industry no more. You just don't. You see a lot of kids with digital recordings and just the bass super loud and beats really quick, but they're not. I just don't feel that they're connecting with the artists. And he's just one guy being a DJ, and this guy brought all these bandmates, all these guys that he worked with together, and that's how music is really put together. You get a lead singer, well, you get a guitarist, two guitarists, a bass guitarist, a drummer, and then you get a lead singer like Ozzy, and then you have to have that guy who can write good songs. And Ozzy was able to write good songs, which very uniquely, as a frontman, he was that guy who wrote songs, and of course he got help from other artists here and there and so forth. But like No More Tears was written by him. Mama, I'm Coming Home was written by him. Just so many songs that he's sang. Dreamer, which is one of my favorite songs of Ozzy. Mr. Crowley. I'm not sure who wrote that song, but if he did, you got to give him credit for that. And just, I think he's the first artist in my era that I feel kind of sad about. I didn't grow up during the Elvis Presley era when he died. I was way too young to even know anything about that. And of course, people say, well, you grew up with Kurt Cobain and Lane Stanley music and Chris Cornell and Scott Weiland and Andrew Wood. Well, Andrew Wood was in 1990. Mother Love Bone, which they didn't make it out to popularity because he died of heroin overdose. But all these '90s grudge guys, they basically died in their prime, in the age of 27 or 28. But it wasn't really significant to me because to me, Ozzy lived a full life. Like he didn't give up and it's like, well, I'm just going to die now, and I'm just going to commit suicide. And it's unfortunately that Lane Stanley and Kurt Cobain and these other guys OD'd on heroin or any of the drug that they choose to take. But life is way too short and it's way too long to to uh, to take it for granted. I just don't understand how people just give up so fast. And especially if I'm just a person with a disability, and I'm never going to be able to play the guitar the way I want to or play the drums with the way I want to. I mean, that's just the way it is. But there's just no reason for me to give up at all. So I think the moral of the story is this: just keep trying. I mean, go start bands, go do what you want to do, go do your art thing. And if people don't like it, so be it. But then you also have to recognize or realize that when there comes a time when you have to kind of give up on that particular dream that you want to do, and then you pick up a new hobby or new talent, a new skill, and then you move on to the next thing. Okay, and then I just think that that's what people really need to do. I mean, I really don't have a lot of talent or skills or anything that would make me good in financial gain and money, but I do have the the ability to be a good worker, a hard worker, show up to work and be on time and do my job, and that's my qualities of in this life. So I want people to like, especially if you're young and you don't know Ozzy Osbourne that much, or you grew up listening to someone that really is close to you and they died or passed away, or someone personal in your life that passed away very young, you should be living your life to the most fullest moment of aspect of your of your ability. I really do think that. I think a lot of us need to stop feeling sorry for ourselves. I think that we have to stop creating this a manifesto of feelings, making us be the center of the universe, and we're not. We're just a little pebble, a little plant organism in the world. And I think that people need to just live and be like Ozzy. Try new things and go do adventurous stuff. Go travel. Do something. And that's what I've been doing lately. Is like I'm going to different cities and different towns, hang out in their town and maybe have a meal in there and so forth. And I would have never done that in my 20s because I'd be like, how am I going to get home if my car breaks down? Well, figure it out. That's what I'm trying to do now. So, Ozzy, we love you. We appreciate what you did with the music industry. Uh, I don't think there'll ever be anyone like you ever again. Uh, and I hope that someday, with Ozzy's passing, I hope that encourages new bands and new artists out there to try to sing or try to start a band and do their thing. It'd be really cool. So peace, love, and you can always find me on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere that you can download my podcast. You can listen to it. YouTube, the Patreon is on there too. So peace, love. We love you, Ozzy.